Commissioner Aldridge will be doing the invocation, and Commissioner Perna will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day that you blessed us with, Father God, and we thank you that we're able to live in the beautiful city of Lynn Haven in the wonderful United States of America, Father. Lord God, we just thank you right now that you're in this meeting, Lord, and that we ask, Lord God, that you would help us to see things clearly, Lord, in the meeting today, and help us to judge things with love in our hearts, Father. Lord, we give all praise and glory to you in Lynn Haven and in this meeting, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just want to thank everybody out for coming out this morning. We got a fairly lengthy meeting, so I know some of these long meetings people have a tendency not to want to come to, so I appreciate y'all being here. The mayor's report, or Mayor Pro Tem's report, I'm sorry, is going to be short because I think the meeting is going to be long, but I just wanted to apologize for this last week for not being able to be at the grand opening of the senior center, as well as missing the Christmas festivities. It's just been an exceptionally busy week for me at work and everything else, so I apologize for the conflict, and I want to thank Commissioner Aldridge for stepping in and filling my seat for those, or my shoes for those those functions. And that's all I've got for that. Let's go to Commissioner Aldridge first, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and I was more than happy to fill in for you on those events. I know how it is to get caught up at work and be busy as well, but it has been a busy couple of weeks. You know, we've had the grand opening here of this beautiful senior activity center. Isn't it a beautiful building, you guys? And we did this with staff mostly. We did have some contract work, but we saved a lot of money building this building with staff as well. So kudos to our staff. You know, the cool thing about seeing us in another building at this point, not of a modular building, is that's visible progress that we're making. We're literally out of a modular building in a real building for the first time since Hurricane Michael. That's pretty exciting in my opinion. So thank you to the staff, thank you to everybody that's worked on this and the board that's helped move this along. We had a great Christmas parade. We had a fun time out there last Saturday. You know, it's great to see the smiling faces, the children with joy, because we live in, as you guys know, a crazy world. We live in a time with a lot of stress, and just to see some joy and happiness was really, really a nice thing, and we really enjoyed that. Again, I want to thank the staff for putting that together. Other than that, we had the Christmas tree lighting the other night, which was a lot of fun. We had Santa Claus there taking requests for presents, and then we had people singing. It was just a good Christmas festive environment, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Again, I thank the staff for putting that together. All of this stuff, any of us has done something at our house or put together a function, you know how hard that is. You know how much that takes, how much work that takes. Well, imagine doing that for a city. It's a lot of work, so thank you guys for that. We do have some more Christmas season coming up, and I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas going forward, and I look forward to 2021, as most of you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Perna?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank our city staff for everything they've done. The tree lighting was great, the parade was great, and it makes you proud to be a citizen of Lynn Haven, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Tender?
Thank you. I enjoyed the parade. I was there, but I wasn't in it. And I have to say, there were more entries in the parade than I think I've ever seen, actually. And all the kids and all that, it was a lot of fun to watch. I've just been dealing with a few residential issues, have given them to the city manager. And that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our city manager?
Thank you. Just a couple of things. First and foremost, you have your financial update. Are there any questions for the Deputy Finance Director? If not, moving on to the next item. First, a couple of thank you and accolades to some staff. Thank you, Joe Footen. I'd like for the Facility Maintenance Department to come through and let you see the people who have been working on this building for several months. They started in May, and because of a couple of shipments that slowed us down a little bit, we finished this just in the nick of time, actually. They worked nights and some weekends, but the level of skill set for all of these guys, if you will just come forward and let everyone see you here, I would really appreciate it. These are the guys that utilize everything that these guys are led by Joe Footen, and every single one of them, Joe is a mentor to these staff members. Some of them came with a lot of skill sets. Some of them have learned different skill sets while they've been here, and they do excellent work. All of our departments do very much excellent work. Some things you see, some things you don't see, but these are some of the fruits of our labor. And I just want to say again, thank you, men and women, woman, to our, for everything that you've done. And I just wanted to say that publicly. Again, thank you guys. Yeah. I also would like to thank the Marketing and Communications Department, along with Community Services, Parks and Grounds, for their hard work on the Christmas tree lighting event and the Christmas parade. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, but we really enjoy seeing the faces and the laughter that happens when these events take place. We got so many kudos from our residents that said just thank you in terms of putting on these events and trying to keep everyone safe. And so I want to thank you again for that. I have a check for $37,513 to pay to our consultant. As you know, I always bring these checks to you just to make you aware of them. They are the consultants that help us with FEMA projects and reimbursements. And then lastly, we have we've done for several years recognizing those staff members that have been with us a long period of time. We recognize them when they have given 25 years to the city, which is really, really commendable and working hard. One of those staff are here today, and one of them is already, Greg, if you'll come forward, and one of them is actually doing community service work today. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about those. For the last 25 years, last couple of years, we recognized longevity to those staff members who have dedicated and committed to more than 25 years. I have two individuals this morning, as I said before, that I'd like to recognize, and that is Kay Carter. She is in the Public Works Department now. Kay started in 1995 as a customer service representative and later transferred to the Public Works Department. Greg Kitwell. Greg is the Director of Public Utilities, and he spent his entire career in public utilities. That says a lot about the consistency and the work that's been done here for the city. So today we do have two pins that say are from the city of Lynn Haven. Greg, we just like to, matter of fact, I'm going to allow you, I'd like to give you a 25-year pin. If you'll turn around so Julie can take a picture of that. And that is my report.
Sounds good. All right. So moving on to the city attorney's report, Mr. Obos.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple things on the horizon. One, I know later on in the agenda we'll have our first reading for the code enforcement system rewrite, and that'll be coming up in conjunction with that. Next month, we'll have first reading of the nuisance abatement code revisions. And the primary purpose of that is to allow those code enforcement or those nuisance abatement costs to be recouped on the tax bill going into next year. So hand in hand with that, you'll see, you may see or hear over the next month or so, we'll need to advertise a notice of intent to use the tax bill. It's called using the uniform method of collection of non-ad valorem taxes. And so that needs to be advertised for 4 consecutive weeks, and then we'll have a hearing once that's done to adopt a resolution of that intent to use that method. That does not mean you're doing an assessment. That just means if you do an assessment next year, you can put it on the tax bill in November of 2021. And that would actually work for, I know the city manager, there's been studies going on as far as potentially doing a stormwater assessment next year. So we could use that tax bill for that. And of course, we could use it for these nuisance abatement costs recovery. So if you see some stuff in the paper, it's not an assessment yet. We're not putting new taxes on the citizens, but we're teeing it up so we could use that tax bill next year in the event you do one. So those will be coming to you next month.
Thank you, sir. So moving to item 7 is public commentary. So anybody like to make public comment? I know you gentlemen had already mentioned that you'd like to come up and speak, so come on up. I'll let you go first, sir.
Good morning. I first want to thank God for allowing us to be here this morning, and then good morning to all of you. I came to Lynn Haven 22 years ago, and 13 years ago, I tried to get the city to come out and look at where the water runs off of the street into my yard. And I went up on Illinois 3 or 4 different times. They come out and tell me they're gonna do something, but they ain't did it in 13 years, and I think there's no excuse for that. And also, I tried to see the city manager about 2 or 3 months ago. I wasn't able to see her, so I figured this was my last leg. But yeah, even if they come out, I don't want them to do what they did to other areas, dig a hole across my yard. I don't like that because it make my yard look bad. But that's my complaint about 1503 Louisiana Avenue. My name is Freddie Parham, and I love Lynn Haven, and I love the senior center, and y'all did a fantastic job. I appreciate that, and basically that's my complaint. Thank you. Freddie Parham, Parham.
We'll get it looked into, sir, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any public comment? Yes, sir.
Yes, I got a sign that I put up on 390 there, and I understand there's some concern about it. And, I called about it, and I think I had the sign company get a permit to put the sign up there. He used 1805 Tennessee Avenue, and there's some concern it might not be on 1805. But what's happening with the new road, they're doing away with that road that goes down straight to Moyd off of 390. The embankment comes up about 5 or 6 foot high in that curve. So they're doing away with that road. And I have the first house, which is 1809 or whatever, on there, and I own all the way to Moyd. So for me to get to that house, I'm gonna have to go to Moyd and come back in through and they're gonna have a cul-de-sac there. So there's no throughway as far as going through there. The sign he put up, and in the triangle, it all goes to a pond. DOT's gonna dig out where that service station was, all the way down to where it comes up at 390. And so the sign's not on the easement, or it's on my property, and then the backside of the sign is gonna be the ditch. I can change the parcel number for the sign, or I can move the sign. If it goes to 1805, then I could put it on the corner of there. So wherever I can change the parcel, I can move the sign if y'all worried about it or whatever. But it's not no easement through there anymore. They're doing away with that, and there's going to be a pond there. So I talked to Amanda and I talked to Vicky. So whatever y'all want to do on the sign, I'm willing to do. but I'm gonna bring the drawings up and show where the pond is and where the road goes away, and hopefully work out something with the department.
Yes,
And
we will.
if not, I'll move the sign. Okay?
Mr. Finch, just to let you know, that was brought to my attention by a citizen, and I brought it to the attention of the city manager, and I asked her, I said, it's not that I want the sign moved, and I'm not trying to cost you money, but when a citizen asks me a question, I want to be able to tell them that sign was legally put there. So I told her, I said, whether we need to give a variance or whatever we need to do, let's make the sign legal so that we can tell people it was done legally. So that's why they're working through what they're trying to get
Well,
done.
see, nobody notified me. I
Yes,
just heard about it.
Yes.
And I called you and you wouldn't call me back, so
Yes,
I decided I'd come up here and say, hey, if you want it moved, I'll move it.
That
If
is
it's
not
the
my,
wrong-
that's not my intent. I just want to make sure
Okay.
that we've got our
Well, it's
ducks
not-
in a row.
It's not my intent. Like I say, the contractor got a permit. He used my address and my building, and I'm willing to move the sign. I'll show you where it's gonna stay, and it makes me no difference. But I want to do whatever the city wants to do.
But I'm sure the city will work on it, and I'll talk to Ms. Gaynor some more. It's not our intent to make you spend money. I just want to make sure that it's legal so that when a citizen asks about it, we can say, listen, it was done right and everything's taken care of.
Well, it was, like I say, nobody notified me.
I
I
know,
just
I know.
heard that y'all had a concern about it, so here I am.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for coming, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda includes several items, and it's going to take me a minute to read through all of them for you. Item 8, minutes of the 11/10/2020 regular meeting minutes. Item 9, minutes of the November 17th, 2020 special meeting minutes. Item 10, approval of 3 final recipients of Hurricane Michael Relief Fund grant utilizing the remaining $3,527.69. Item 11, approval of resolution 2020-12-349, accepting a state-funded grant agreement for legislative payment from FDOT. Item 12, approval of the state-funded grant agreement between the City of Lynn Haven and the State of Florida Department of Transportation for Phase 2 of the legislative paving. Item 13, approval to appoint Tim Farrell to the Firefighters Pension Board, replacing Bobby Landwehr. Item 14, discussion and possible approval to sign the interlocal agreement for the allocation of local fuel tax. What is the purview of the commission?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion with the commission? Hearing none. Any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to item 15. This is a public hearing. So let's see, it's 9:18. Let's see, final reading of ordinance 1100, small-scale future land use amendment for 809 and 813 Pennsylvania Avenue from low-density residential to public institutional. I think before we go to the planning commissioner, director, I think you need to swear anybody in, or am I correct or not incorrect?
It's
On
not
item
quasi
15?
It's
judicial.
not a quasi.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Richard.
This is the, can I take this off? This is the final reading of ordinance number 1100, a request for a small-scale future land use map amendment for parcel number 09622-000-000 and 09621-000-000, two 150 by 150 square foot parcels with a combined approximate total of 1.032 acres in size. The parcels are located at 809 and 813 Pennsylvania Avenue. These two parcels were purchased by the city for the purpose of incorporating them into the rebuild of the city's administrative buildings and supporting infrastructure. The parcels have single-family homes, or had, one of them's gone now, located upon them, and a future land use designation of low-density residential. The city is requesting to change the future land use designation to public institutional. The current land use of adjacent properties is as follows. To the north, low-density residential, south, mixed use, east, low-density residential, west, public institutional. Summary, the city would like to amend the future land use map designation of these two parcels comprising 1.032 acres of property from low-density residential to public institutional. This item went before the Planning Commission on November 3rd, where the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Has the commission got any questions for Ms. Richard? Hearing none, is there, what's the,
Motion to approve the,
Second.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, the city manager needs to read the ordinance.
An ordinance providing for the adoption pursuant to Chapter 163 Florida statutes of a land use change from low-density residential to public institutional for an approximate 1.32 plus acres of property located on Pennsylvania Avenue in the city of Lynn Haven, Bay County, Florida, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith and providing an effective date.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion with the commission? Any discussion with the public? Hearing none, city manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Parner,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, thank you. Motion carries. Item 16, discussion regarding time extensions. Thank you, Ms. Richard, by the way. Oh, yep, I'm sorry. Hearing closed at 9:22. Thank you for keeping me straight.
That's all right.
Item 16, discussion regarding time extension of RV trailers and pods on private properties for residents affected by Hurricane Michael in accordance with Ordinance 1071. City Manager, I believe you got something you would like to say about this?
Last commission meeting, the commission voted that if we wanted to give extensions, that those folks would have to come before the commission. And we have had some people that have contacted us, would like to speak on behalf of themselves in terms of their situation after Hurricane Michael. You did have two, but the person that was wanting us just to discuss with her lawyer statement is asked to be pulled off. So I know that there is another resident here today. Yes, and we're going to ask right now if you will come forward and speak before the commission. I will ask, and just my comments as you come forward, that maybe the commission may want to reconsider how we do this, because we are getting those folks who do not want to come before the commission, and it is very difficult, and then sometimes they pull out at the last minute. Maybe you think about it and see what is a better way so that people who do not want to come before the commission and maybe talk about things that are going on, that we can do that. That's just my suggestion.
Maybe it's something this commission can consider. Maybe that it just be submitted in writing in lieu of them coming in front of us if they don't feel comfortable coming in front of us. Just something to consider. Ma'am, thank you for coming, and we'd love to hear what you've got to tell us, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Courtney Harris. My husband, Ty Harris, is here with me. We've been residents of Lynn Haven for 12 years now, not originally from Florida. We were displaced by Hurricane.
If you don't mind, could you step up to the mic a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
We were displaced by Hurricane Michael. We are actively building right now. We do have a permit from the city of Lynn Haven, a contractor construction loan. Unfortunately, we will not be finished by the deadline of February 28th. Our address is 700 East 2nd Street. So we would like to request an extension, please. Our contractor is saying we should be finished by June. So that would, be hopefully the latest that we would need, but we are actively moving forward, thankfully and finally, and we just need to be on our lot and have a place to live until our home is built.
I got your address, but could you state your name one more time for me?
Yes, sir. Courtney Harris and Ty Harris. It's spelled Tighe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Do y'all have, Commission have any questions for the, no?
No.
I'd like to suggest the commission, you know, I can't make a motion, but I'd like to suggest the commission extend her extension to the end of July of 2021. I'll give you an extra month.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, it's kind of a no-brainer. Again, we're not doing this as a city to punish anyone. This is just to try to make sure things stay, you know, clean and above board in the rebuild. It's an obvious case that is legitimate, and I'd make the motion to give them that extension with no problem at all.
I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion with the commission? Any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
And
so
feel
much.
free, I know construction has a tendency to get screwed up, and if your contractor slows down, feel free to come back to us.
Thank you so much. We love Lynn Haven. It's where we want to be forever. It's just, we are actively moving forward now, which is really exciting. So we appreciate you all.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Mayor Pro
In
Tem.
relation to the other, I'm sorry? Yes, sir?
If I may, while we're on the subject and you had mentioned it, I'd like to make a motion that we revisit the previous motion about them, citizens coming before the commission, and go ahead and say they could come before the commission or in writing before the deadline. And again, just to reiterate, it's our goal to have a personal relationship with each person going through this, and not to set a hard date to stop it. You know, we just want to get in there and understand what everybody's going through. So, and we're actually hearing from people that may not have been on our list before, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, if I could make that motion, and then we can add so the people who don't want to come before the commission could at least put it in writing. So,
I
thank you.
second that.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, did you second?
I second it.
So a motion is second. Is there any discussion with the commission? Any discussion with the public? City Manager, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, and Commissioner Perno, thank you for making that motion, and thanks, Commission, for passing that. We also have, appears to be 4 more addresses that have applied for extensions. I don't know if we've got a date for completion on any of these projects yet.
We do not.
We do?
We do not.
Okay. So I might suggest, I mean, we've got a couple of months because the deadline's not till February. I might suggest that the commission ask the city staff go back and find out if they have a projected completion date, and then we can extend their deadline till that date. So if we could get a motion, you know, to direct the staff to do that, I'd appreciate it.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to let you know that they've already said that they would be submitting in writing those 4.
Okay. Okay, well, then we can just table them. If we want, we can just table this until they, if you'd like to do that. All right, so I need a motion to table the addresses then.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve tabling this until the next meeting. All right. Motion is second. Any discussion with the commission? Hearing none. Any discussion with the public? Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Mayor, in the future, as we get these, we can easily handle the extensions and put them on the consent agenda, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that would be,
And I can easily give you some summary if you like that.
that'd be great. So we could just make it an ongoing, because it's going to be a good amount of folks, and
Yes.
we can handle it that way. So, all right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and the key is to make sure the citizens know that we're not hardline and we want them gone. We don't want a blighted situation to occur like happened in New Orleans after Katrina, you know, so we're just trying to be a little proactive.
And it gives us a personal relationship with each person and what they're going through, a personal understanding. So,
Yep. All right, so we had a motion and a second discussion with the public. Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, thank you. So let's see, moving on to item 17, discussion and approval to give DAG Architect permission to assist the facility maintenance director with design work and demolition of the second story of the concession stand at the city or at the sports complex at an hourly rate with the commission setting the not to exceed limit amount. Since this is a discussion item, I'm going to start off. I think that, you know, we're trying to keep this in-house as much as we can, but the facilities director needs some help. The number that I got from the city manager that they are looking at for the not to exceed is $10,000. I mean, if there's, and this is a discussion item, so if y'all got any discussion you ought to have before the motion, feel free to.
I saw the email with the scale, and that was my concern, was how many of the $200 an hour people we're going to have on the job versus the $50 an hour people on the job. So my question was going to be, can we be sure of what particular scaled labor we were going to have from DAG, so we can get a grip on the final dollar amount. So,
yeah, well, I think the easiest is if we set it not to
if we capped it,
not to exceed amount. You know, I mean that's the easiest way for us to control how much.
That was my question when I read the email. So,
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, I like the idea of the $10,000 as well, to set a limit, and if it should go over, can we ask that they'll notify us?
It would have to come back for us for a vote before this could go over.
Okay, great, thank you. I make the motion that we accept that.
I'll second that.
10,000.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion with the commission? Hearing none, is there any discussion with the public? City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Now, similar situation with item 18. Discussion and possible approval for DAG Architects to partially design the facility maintenance building at an hourly rate with the commission setting the not to exceed amount. This is also a discussion item, so I'm going to let you know. I've talked to the city manager, and again, we've got an estimate, and she's thinking that it should not exceed $20,000 for the design work and the demolition work for that property, or the design work, I'm sorry. If there's any discussion with the commission?
That's for the maintenance shed?
That's for the facilities.
Maintenance, the facilities maintenance area, yeah.
They have to have site work and
Yep.
foundation work done, you know, design work done and everything before they can begin construction.
Well-
And I keep in mind that this department is working out of their trucks. They do not have a facility at the moment.
This
Yet they
was-
continue to work, and you can see evident the kind of work that they do. So,
It's the one that was going to be like $400,000 last time we looked at it. Was the total project?
don't remember the number off the top of my head. Yep.
Yes, and so with this particular building, we are looking at doing a prefab building, but we still need the structural, all of the structural design, concrete slab, foundations, all of those things done. So yes, we will be saving a lot of money. Our budget is to take it to about $400,000, although we have been allotted in FEMA for $545,000.
So this, I'm sorry, so this is a FEMA project?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But now what we're voting on today is just to allow DAG Architect to assist in the design.
But FEMA's going to take care of it.
They will reimburse us. They will reimburse us for these design. They'll reimburse us for forced labor or in-house labor and anything we put forward. Yes.
But didn't we previously have this in front of the commission as a DAG project? So we're
Yes. This was honored. This was honored. The bid.
This is
Yes.
going to be a co-op project between
Yes.
facilities and DAG.
I believe at the prior commission meeting, there was some concern that we didn't have an amount that we were going to pay DAGs. I think that's why we ended up not.
I remember voting no.
It actually died for lack of a motion.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
I make a motion, we accept it.
I would second that.
Thank you for both of y'all. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion with the commission? Hearing none, any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries, and wherever Joe and his guys are, I'm glad we got this working, and I'm glad we're going to have you at home here soon. So, And thank you, Commission, for passing this. New business, moving on to item 19, discussion and possible approval of city manager's one-year evaluation and compensation. And I've got this listed under my items, so I will start the discussion. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the process, but each of us were submitted an evaluation form to fill out and requested time to meet with the city manager to review her evaluation. I'm exceptionally disappointed with one of the evaluations that was submitted. Reading the report, it smacks of a personal attack or conflict, not a work evaluation. That being said, I want to let you know that some of the comments that were made in it, I believe to be unfounded and untrue. I've had several department heads and employees come to me and say that they completely disagree with that evaluation, and that the atmosphere of the city is in a better place now than it was prior to Ms. Gaynor's employment. And obviously, you know, Commissioner Tender will have a chance to voice her opinion, but I'm exceptionally disappointed in that evaluation. So I'm opening the floor for discussion for anybody else that'd like to speak.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to say, upon submitting my my evaluation, Ms. Tender, and talking to her, and then reading the three evaluations, the three evaluations, four evaluations, and three of them were of the kind of the same mold. I mean, we tend to look at her performance and what's happened, and I've been on here almost 2 years, and from what I've seen, we're going in a good direction. That's all I can say. I know that upon reading things, we seem to be stuck in one of these evaluations. We seem to be stuck on a couple of particular past incidents. We're not judging her overall on her performance. So that's my opinion. That's all I can say. But I know that three of the evaluations stick out, and one sticks out like a kind of like a sore thumb. But I mean, if you're looking at it and you're reading 3 to 1, as most people do in Supreme Court cases or whatnot, you know, you judge it for what it is. Mm-hmm. So I just I know I looked at Vicky's eval, and I just want to make sure that, you know, I think she's in a good place with what she's doing with the city. I applaud her on where she's taking us, and want to be around to see what the future holds. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may as well.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to first off echo your remarks that I'm very disappointed in that evaluation. We're all entitled to our opinions, but I believe an evaluation is supposed to be a professional evaluation and not a personal attack. You know, in my world, results is what you go by. Not talk, not what people are going to do or what they plan to do, but results are what speaks. And if you look around this city, all I see is results. I see positive results. You see buildings that we're sitting in. You see a garden club that's rebuilt. You see parks that are reopening, getting ready for kids to play ball in the spring. You have all the cones and flags up Highway 77. That's where we're about to get brand new, great looking medians, all fixed up and snazzy looking. You look at the money that we've saved in building these buildings by outside the box thinking by our city manager. You know, when we brought our city manager in last year and we had these evaluations or this, we were hiring her and discussing pay scale, you know, she understood, and when we had those discussions that, you know, with her coming into this job without previous city manager experience, she came into the position willingly and with humility and humbly taking less pay than most of the city managers in the area. That being said, I believe she's proven herself way beyond what I even thought she could do, and I would like to see her get compensated fairly with the other city managers in the area. So I'll put that out there.
Thank you. Commissioner Tenney, you got anything you'd like to say?
Sure. Basically, all I really want to say is that on April 25th, 2017, I was elected by the people and I was sworn in. And every day since that day, I have taken that job very seriously. Things have changed 3,000% since that day in our city. And I will continue to defend the state and do my job. I guess I could demean your reviews. Mr. Aldridge, for example, you gave the city manager all outstandings. You've given her no room to improve. No room to improve at all. So she's perfect in your eyes. That's what that says, because it's the highest score you can give her. That's really all I have to say. I've not even read her responses, Ms. Gaynor, because my opinions are my opinions, just like you said, and we're all entitled to them. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Keeping in mind that when you cast stones, you have to live in a glass house. You made some comments in your review about her permitting dirt work and site work done at her house, when I know that there are questions about permits that were issued to your restaurant. So, you know, I mean, unless you're going to clean up your own house, you shouldn't be casting stones, in my opinion. That being said,
I'd like to rebut to that.
That being said, I would like to pass the gavel because I'm going to make a motion, and I can't do that as the Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the evaluation as approved and that we increase the city manager's salary by a 15% pay increase. The reason I want to make that motion, and I want to explain to you some numbers, our current city manager makes $115,000 a year base salary. Callaway's city manager, who has roughly 4,000 less citizens, makes $136,000 a year. Panama City Beaches makes, or actually, Panama City's city manager makes $151,000. Panama City Beach makes $170,000 a year with only 12,000 residents. I understand that they have an influx of tourists during the summer, but that's beside the point. County manager makes $170,000 a year for the Bay County. Our city manager for Lynn Haven makes $115,000, which I think is almost embarrassing. And I explained that to her when she negotiated that salary. I thought she was selling herself short, and I told her that. And on top of that, you know, I mean, she said that her heart was here and she was going to do whatever she had to do to be the city manager, and she would take whatever salary we offered her. So that, to me, that goes a long way to explain what somebody is. So my motion is to increase her salary by 15% above her normal salary. I don't have, hold on just a second. I'll give you the exact number in 2 seconds here. Yeah, my math is not the best in the world. Let's see, 115 times 1.15. That takes her to no, I did that wrong. Hold on, let's do it one more time. Takes her to 132,250. So it's still less than Callaway, just so you know.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion with this commission? Yes, sir.
I think we need to move it up a little bit more, Mayor Pro Tem.
So what
I don't think she should make necessarily less than Callaway. Not that Callaway, I mean, Mr. Cook does a great job out there as well, but just we're the second largest city in the county. You know, I was thinking more along the line of around 140 on the pay.
Okay. In that case, I'll amend my motion to make it to make her salary $140,000 a year.
I'll second the motion.
I can't.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion with the commission? Any discussion with the public? Yes, ma'am.
Jody Moore, 2129 Amherst Street. All this is fine. If we want to raise the salary to be, as compensated as the other managers are. I just want to say, when you do an evaluation, I also see good things happening around the city. And as a garden club member, I love the way the garden club looks now, even though it now belongs to the city. We did turn it over to, the city, and it looks great. I mean, I see a lot of progress too. But I think you have to look at the whole picture too. You have to also look at not just results, as Mr. Aldridge says. I also think you have to look at, the whole picture. I think you have to look at professionalism. And I'm not going to go there, but I'll just say I've had some interactions with Ms. Gaynor that have not been professional in my opinion, and I can show you privately if you like. And I think that's maybe something that's room for improvement. So I think that there is room for improvement. I don't think that they're all superiors. So I don't think you know the whole picture. And I'm sorry, I think you have to look at all of that when it comes to everything, okay? Nothing against you personally at all. So like I said, if you all want to raise that, to 140, I think that what was on the table was 15%, so I don't know why everybody wants to, raise it beyond what was originally asked, but again, that's fine if that's what the board wants to do. But I think you need to continue to look out for what the fiscal, needs of this city as well, what the citizens are paying for. I think you always need to continue to look for that. Again, I mean, I'm not saying this isn't fair or anything, but again, you have to look at what the citizens are, this is their taxes and everything that's paying for all of this. So we always need to look at that we're still rebuilding because we were so devastated. So fiscal responsibility is also very important in this as well. And I just want to say too that I don't like some of the tone that's been directed towards Ms. Tender either. Like I said, I understand, passionate, debate and back and forth, but again, I mean, I would just like to see it kept a little more, not attacking on either side. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And for the record, you said 15% was asked. I want to make it very clear that Commissioner or City Manager has not asked me for a pay increase. This is based on my decision on what I think she deserves. And also the other thing would be, and not directed toward you, but we hear it all the time that we're dealing with citizens' taxes. You need to remember we're citizens too, so it's our taxes too. Mr. Dick, I believe I saw your hand up, sir.
Brian Dick, 3217 Country Club. I think that 15% is a low ball, I believe. I used to live in Callaway for many, many years. The one thing that she has to deal with that they don't is they do not have a police department anymore. They're governed by the county. Their city is much, much smaller economically than what Lynn Haven is. She should be at least, for everything that she has done, at least at 150. That at minimum. You take into consideration that since Hurricane Michael, in what she has had to endure and how she had put everything that she has done in God's hands, I know she has, in living her own life and then still looking out for the well-being of other citizens here in Lynn Haven, it's just, it's astonishing. It's a very sad moment when I don't want to say bickering, but the knocking down that does not create any sort of unity, which is something that Lynn Haven has to have, especially with everything that has happened in prior months. We are in a much, much better place. Ms. Tender, you got some great chicken salad. And I love talking to you when I come in there. But I also believe that if you're an elected official, you are an unbiased election official. And you are supposed to do the good deeds of the overall well-being of the citizens, not just those that could influence you or sway you, which I think, in my opinion, has happened. I believe having all outstandings on an evaluation just goes to show her that what she is doing, she's doing a good job on. Within herself, you look at her character, and she will develop the opportunities within herself to get even more proficient. But instead, we want to take a piece of paper that has evaluations on it and say, this is how she is. No, it's not. The way she is what's inside of her. And as long as she is doing what she is doing for this city, that's what we should be focusing on. And that's why I believe she's done an outstanding job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Michael Wing. I live at 1302 Vermont Avenue. I am a resident of the city of Lynn Haven, unlike this lady right here who likes to get up and talk about the city of Lynn Haven's problems. But
Please don't, please, you had your time, let
Anyway.
him have him, ma'am.
as a supervisor for more than 35 years in the fire service, I've done countless performance evaluations. Never once were personal beliefs or unsubstantiated accusations allowed to play a part in those evaluations. A performance evaluation is based solely on factual criteria. The only opinion allowed in a personal evaluation, or performance evaluation, is the evaluator's opinion of how an employee can improve their performance for the next evaluation period. Every point of an employee evaluation must be judged with documented information, not speculation, not secondhand information provided by a disgruntled, unqualified ex-employee. Commissioner Tender, I have in my hands all 4 evaluations of Ms. Gaynor. Every commissioner on this panel rated her on her job performance. You, however, rated her on your personal feelings for her and not her job performance. The entirety of your grading of Ms. Gaynor's job performance is wrought with opinion and belief, not one single piece of evidence to support your claims. One can only ascertain that this evaluation is a blatant attempt to slander this woman's good name. I have witnessed firsthand on numerous occasions that Ms. Gaynor has done nothing but empower and build up her staff. As you make accusatory statements about the actions of Ms. Gaynor and the previous city manager after the storm, let us ask, where were you? I know where Mr. Perno was. He was feeding city staff as they worked tirelessly. Mind you, he was not an elected official at that point. I know where Mr. Aldridge was. He was selflessly helping his neighbors and community. He as well was not an elected official at that point. I know where Mr. Russell was, again, helping his neighbors and city staff. None received a penny for their efforts and good deeds. Where were you after the storm? Oh, that's right. You were using county resources and facilities to make over $90,000 in less than a month while still collecting disability from the taxpayers. Believe me, I did a public records request to the county. Where do you think Ms. Gaynor was? She was serving this city 14 to 20 hours a day. At the same time, all Lynn Haven's employees were working extremely long hours under incredible stress to take care of their own. You claim in your evaluation of Ms. Gaynor that she is a poor leader and instills fear in every single employee. Those were your words. I've got it right here. Have you taken time to talk to every single city employee? In the time I've been coming to these meetings and observing, I believe it is you, Commissioner Tender, who has caused more bad morale and distrust by city employees than Ms. Gaynor could ever do. And we, the residents, are tired of your witch hunts. I implore all present today to do what you are elected to do. Please move this city forward.
Any other public commentary? Yes, sir, Mr. Ma'am, you've already had your time, but
I have.
I'll give you a short
Could I
minute.
speak again afterwards? Okay, thank you.
No, ma'am, I was going to give you another minute or two if you wanted, but I mean,
Okay. Yeah,
but
I'll
we
take
do
a
we do
second.
generally only allow one 3-minute commentary.
Okay. Well, I don't think I used all my time before. Just a comment. Again, we're talking about personal attacks.
Oh,
here.
you have
okay.
to address your comments to us.
All right. we're talking about personal attacks here. First of all, yes, I do not live in the city limits of Lynn Haven, but let me tell you something. I'm very active in this city. I belong to many organizations within this city right now. I come to a lot of commission meetings, and I'm very concerned about the city. So for someone to say, you know, oh, I don't have a stake in this city because I don't belong in the city limits, that is attacking me, and I don't appreciate this gentleman, some of his unsubstantiated comments that he made, which I don't believe that. I can see that Ms. Gaynor had her whole church show up today to speak for her, which is totally fine. Okay, that seems obvious to me as well. You know, why don't we just raise the salary to $250,000, you know, since, you know, everything's great. Like I said, I'm not saying she does not work hard, has not done a good job for the city, but there are some things that are concerning. I'm not saying she should be removed in any way. I'm not even saying that. But to me, there are some things that are concerning. And I don't appreciate the attacks on Ms. Tinder right now and some of the things that are, the accusations that have been made. You know, if you have something to bring forward and you think there's fraud, you know, bring it forward, okay? Let's get an investigation going, and let's investigate everybody else too. I think we've had a lot of that going on. So you know what, let's just keep it going until we get rid of everybody. You know, do we really want this division right now in the city?
This way.
Okay, anyway, I'm done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'd like to point out that we appreciate your comment and you coming to the meeting, but we were elected to represent the citizens of the city of Lynn Haven. So we'll take your comments in context, but that doesn't mean we represent you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Temp. There's more.
One more
Sure.
hand up. I believe Raymond Gates had something, and I'll be glad to give it back to you.
Okay, thanks.
My name is Raymond Gates. Work for the police department. One of my hats is code enforcement manager. In your statement, you said, as stated earlier, that every single employee fears Ms. Gaynor. Did you ask me?
Nope.
No. So it's a false statement.
Saying every single certainly was a mistake, yes.
Yes. All right. In my role as code enforcement officer or manager, there's lots of times during the commission when you bring items up regarding code enforcement. Have you ever called me in my office to address any of those concerns?
Mr. Gates, you're allowed to make your comment, but I'm not going to let you question the commission, okay?
Okay.
Make your statements, and if she'd like to respond, I'll let her, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
My statement would be, Ms. Gaynor has done a great job. I've seen Ms. Gaynor in my office. I've seen Ms. Gaynor come to me, ask me for advice, ask me for my opinion on things, ask me what we should do in certain roles in code enforcement, how we should proceed. I've seen the other commissioners, I've talked to them, but have never been addressed or acknowledged by you. Believe that the statement that you made was unfair as far as stating that every single employee fears Ms. Gaynor. That is totally incorrect.
Right.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tender, I'm going to let you respond now.
Yes, I wanted to respond. I will totally say, if I wrote in there every single, it certainly was a mistake. I can only go by what I'm told. But I would like to say something to that gentleman's comments about where was I after the storm. The first thing I did right after the storm was I emptied every freezer and every refrigerator at our cafe and took 4 truckloads of frozen food over to Sutherland Funeral Home to feed whoever was over there from the city. That's the first thing I did. And other than saying what I said before, I believe we all are entitled to our opinions. Other than saying every single, my evaluation was based on my experiences with Mrs. Gaynor. And they're based on things that employees have brought to my attention. And I stand by my truths. I mean, that's all I can say. It doesn't matter, bottom line, as far as money or anything goes, what my vote is or how I feel. It's 3-1. And I knew that. I knew my statements were not going to cause Mrs. Gaynor not to get her raise. But I just feel that I am entitled to my opinion. And I don't think, I think the future will play itself out. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead. You can bring him up here. I'll hold him if you want me to.
I'm Megan Baxley. I am at 1120 Iowa Avenue, and I'm also a city employee. I'm here on my day off, and I have nothing negative to say towards any of the commissioners. It's a hard job for everybody, but I have a lot of nice things to say about Vicki, and she's probably slightly surprised that I'm here, even because I'm just an employee. After the hurricane, I had started at the library, and as all you know, the library was completely destroyed. So as far as we were concerned, we didn't really have a job. But instead of firing all of the employees at the library, she creatively found a way to keep us all and move us to different positions within the city so that we still had a job. And I know myself and the few other of us at the library were super grateful for that. In your time since you've been the city manager, I've watched you have meetings and meet with every single employee in the city to make sure that we were getting the things that we need and had time to accomplish the things that we needed to accomplish, and that you would help us with anything we needed. And that was something I never saw before, and I thought that was really special, that you made a point that every employee knew who you were and where you were, and that your door was always open to us. And so I will rebuttal the statement that any employee is in fear of you. Just blows my mind, because I know how kind you have been to even a little peon. And and so I just want to say thank you. And as far as your pay, you should definitely make at least what everybody else makes, because not only did you step up humbly and take this job, you've been put under a microscope because of everything that happened prior to you. So just for that alone, and living in a glass house, like, you deserve everything. So I just wanted to say, as an employee and a city, thank you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, you're supposed to be running the meetings. Sorry, look at that. I'm not even paying attention. I passed the gavel.
Megan, I just want to also say that there is no peon in this city. There's no such thing. You know, every employee is equal and just as valuable as every other. You know, if you don't think it's important, cut your small toe off and see how good you walk. You know, you don't walk as good without all your toes. So we need everyone here, and I'm thankful for the job you do. So thank you so much for those comments. Ms. Vicki, do you have something you'd like to say?
Yes. I am very grateful for the job each and every one of you do. They're great employees. I love these employees, whether it's former employees that have talked to Commissioner Tender or employees now. My direct dealing is with directors. I give directors that autonomy to run their departments the way that they would like to run their departments. And in terms of the responses, I just want to read to you what I responded. It's evident about the tone of this evaluation. It's nothing more than a personal attack on my character and my position. This evaluation is not based on job performance, but personal. It demeans me as a person, as a child of God. I am a Christian who believes in treating everyone with respect, even those who set out to uproot me, lie about me, undermine me, and to put it plainly, just don't like me. Commissioner Tender has a misconception of her role as commissioner. She misuses her authority. She has created an atmosphere with hostility with employees and with me. Commissioner Tender continues to create a hostile work environment for me with accusations and undermining my authority as city manager. I have no ill will against Commissioner Tender. You can only base she said you can only base your feelings off of the dealings that you have. I have always, when she sent me something, I have answered it. I tried to do it to the very, very best of my ability. She said she's lacking in a couple of emails. Wherever those emails are, I will go back and answer those. The employees have asked me several times, do they have to respond to Commissioner Tender? I have told them, yes, they do, but to CC me on those responses. They said they don't feel comfortable responding to her because she misconstrues their responses. As city manager, I have always asked all commissioners to send their requests for staff to do tasks through me. If it's research, if it's anything, I've directed staff to send it through me, and then I give, the commissioners, and then I give the direction. Ms. Tender has continued to send requests, texts, and emails to staff. Ms. Tender even sent a text to one of my employees asking one of my employees about me and the building of my personal home that was destroyed during Hurricane Michael. She questioned if I obtained a DEP permit. Had I gotten a permit to build? Did I even buy dirt from James Finch? Per the city charter, Commissioner Tender is not the supervisor or the city manager, nor is she the chain of command for any city employee. It is in violation of her position as commissioner to give any directive to any employee under the city manager's supervision. I sent this email to all commissioners. They are a witness to this, that on this very issues, that anything that the cities, you need for the city employees to do, please let it go through me. I stated that they were violating the charter as the city manager runs day-to-day operations, as I've sent this email to Commissioner Tender, and after this email was sent to Commissioner Tender and the rest of them, I did get a response back that she wanted to form a citizens group and make changes to the charter. I feel threatened. Do I? Yes, I do. Do I feel bullied? Yes, I do. Commissioner Tender does not understand she has zero authority to govern the day-to-day operations of business, zero authority as an individual, as a commission member. Her inability to understand her partnership to work with me, even if she does not like me, even if she does not like my answers, this is the job of the commission. I have taken every responsibility, whether good or bad, and handled them appropriately. I understand it is my responsibility to handle the performance of staff, and I take full responsibility for it. The staff have always had my full support, and I've never thrown any staff under the bus. Commissioner Tender constantly inserts herself into the affairs of personnel matters, repeatedly obstructs the fair administration of daily operations. For example, has spread false information to the detriment of the city regarding terminations of Perryman and Waldrop. She questions every hire with no authority to do so. I've hired people who are capable and have excellent work ethics. It is evident from the remarks from the auditor in a previous commission meeting that there were surely several deficiencies in the former finance director position. I will not litigate this because that's not right, and that's not the right thing to do, but I will tell you that a CPA is not required for this position. As a point of reference, the former deputy finance director did not have a degree and ran this city for 30 years. Very good. The past 3 city managers have had to deal with these same issues. The former city manager had a horrible review, and the city manager before that had lots of issues. I am very knowledgeable of laws and policies. I have been a member and joined the Florida City's Clerk, Florida County City Managers Meeting. I'm knowledgeable of FEMA regulations, ordinances, and resolutions. I'm current on the laws and ethics training. For a year, I've sat in this seat as city manager, and 8 months as acting city manager. I have worked 10 to 14-hour days, weekends, on call, all because I care about the city and no other reason why. But I've never seen anyone who worked so hard against me in this city. Lastly, regarding communication, I have over 444 emails where I've sent Commissioner Tender and all commissioners update. I send them updates every Friday about the finances and everything that has been done. But many times the requests that come through, she talks about public records requests, they're like a scavenger hunt. If you knew the type of time that staff spends trying to fulfill a public records request, sometimes just for one commissioner or other people, you would be amazed. I'd like to explain that to Commissioner Tender that sitting in on FEMA meetings, only one commissioner can sit in on a FEMA meeting. If another commissioner sits on a meeting, that's considered a meeting. And so if one sits in and has been designated, then no other commissioner can sit in this meeting. I cannot help the way she feels. I just know I need to speak the truth. Commissioner Tender has actually accused me of being involved with ECS. This does not deserve a response. This is a personal attack and not performance-based. After Hurricane Michael, I spent several weeks at EOC in North Bay, away from temporary facilities and staff, and had zero contact with them. The former city manager's acts were those of his own making. The former city manager had the ability to direct any staff to do the things that he needed them to do, and he did just that, where he directed the finance department. Lastly, the words, this commissioner believes it is personal and not based on performance as city manager. I don't mind you saying things that you don't like, but please give me credit for some of the things that I have done good in this city. I have no reason to manage by fear, but I do manage by love, guidance, truth, and strong leadership. Every employee is fearful. If every employee is fearful, then that's news to me. Several employees have come to my office, even yesterday and today, in tears just by this evaluation. And I told them it's all right. It's absolutely all right. We're going to get through this, because what it says is that they are saying, you're attacking me also. You're attacking these departments that work really, really, really hard, and that we're doing something wrong. We always are made to feel like we're doing something wrong when we're trying to do everything right. I send staff birthday cards, anniversary cards. We have town hall meetings. That's one of the things she's talking about with the city manager. And no supervisors are allowed to be there. And they tell me everything that they want or needs to be changed, what they don't like about the city. And they can attest that first town hall meeting with employees before COVID, we got a lot of things changed because I wanted to hear from them. So don't tell me I don't care about these employees. I care dearly about them, and I would never do anything to hurt them. Lastly, many citizens can attest. I've gone to their houses on the weekend. I've come by their houses to address problems. I call them at night, on the weekend. So again, don't say that I do not address the citizens' concerns, because I do. I think I go beyond that measure. In spite of this evaluation, I still hold no ill will, because that's just not who I am. I would love to work with Commissioner Tender. I want it to be a positive relationship. I want us to put aside all of this stuff that you hear and you think, and let's move forward to work with this city so we can have a great city. That's all I'm asking, because the more we do this, the faster we're going to be. That's all I want.
That's right. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. So where we are, number 19, discussion and possible approval of city manager's one-year evaluation and compensation. I think we had a motion on the floor, and we had a second on the floor to raise the city manager's salary to $140 annually, and we will take the vote. So unless we have any discussion, I'm sorry, discussion from the public? Yes, sir.
I can illustrate to you proof of discord. If Miss Gaynor's house was being built on a piece of wetland, and the DEP had to authorize that house to be cleared before ground could break. Ms. Tinder could have called that builder and just asked, have they got clearance from DEP to do this? But instead, you use a different channel that you didn't need to use. That is proof of discord. That is proof of divide and conquer instead of unite. I never thought that. I've always liked Ms. Tinder. I still like you. I really do. And I know the election is right around the corner. But if this is what the city has to look forward to from this point until in April, I don't know if it's possible or not, but maybe make a motion to have her removed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We've had open comments, and we've got a motion on the floor. So at this point, we'll take a vote. Ms. Gaynor, if you would, please read off the names.
Commissioner Russell, Mayor Pro Tem Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tinder,
No.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Yes. That passes, so congratulations, Ms. Gaynor. That was a great evaluation, and we're happy for you. Good Christmas season. Thank you guys for your comments. We'll move on to number 20, discussion and possible approval of resolution number 2020-12-347 to place the renewal of the business tax abatement on the ballot in April. And I believe that's Mr. Obus over there.
This is Resolution 20-12-347. I'll read it by title and I'll do the summary for you. It's a resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, directing the Supervisor of Elections to place a referendum on the ballot of the next municipal election that seeks authority from the electorate to renew property tax exemptions for new businesses or the expansion of existing businesses that create new jobs in the city, providing ballot language, providing for notice of referendum in accordance with law, and providing an immediately effective date. As you may be aware, for the last 10 years, starting with the April 2011 election, the city did have a ballot measure approved by referendum which authorized this economic development incentive, which is a property tax abatement for certain new businesses or businesses that create new jobs, and there's some statutory definitions. So that was approved. Those only last for 10 years. So now we're coming up on the expiration of that. And so all this resolution does is authorizes the supervisor of elections to put that question back on the ballot to renew it for an additional 10 years.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public? Ms. Vicky, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tinder,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Yes. Motion passes. Number 21, first reading of ordinance 1101 for amendments to code enforcement system, and that again is our attorney Obus over there.
All right, again, this is our first reading. This is ordinance number 1101, an ordinance of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinances to repeal the city's adoption of the Local Government Code Enforcement Boards Act, establishing a code enforcement special magistrate system, establishing standards for the issuance of civil violation citations, establishing procedures for the appeal of the civil violation citations, providing for the enforcement, collection, and foreclosure of penalties assessed for violations of the city's code of ordinances and land development regulations, replacing references to the city's code enforcement board, repealing provisions for ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for codification, providing for recording, and reciting an effective date. And I can give a summary on this. Right now, the city uses the Chapter 162 Florida Statute Code Enforcement Board system. That board basically has been delegated to a special magistrate, which is being Al Stopka serves currently as the magistrate. What this ordinance does is it repeals the reliance on Chapter 162, which is again just a statutory scheme. That's not the exclusive way to do code enforcement in Florida. So we'll repeal that and replace it entirely with what you have before you. And basically it's going to streamline the process. It will put the onus on the violator to come before the magistrate. So as of right now, everything goes to the code enforcement board, which is the magistrate. This will streamline it, so you still have your same code enforcement violation. You have an opportunity to correct it, and if you don't correct it, now instead of calling you before the board or before the magistrate, the enforcement officer can issue that citation. You still get due process. You'll get, it's either served or certified mail, hand delivered. And if you don't agree with the citation, it's on you as the violator to request that hearing with the magistrate, and it gets set up that way. So that really eliminates a step, probably save at least 30 days on average, to at least get to the point of having these citations become final orders and become liens. And that's, if there's any questions, we did have a lengthy conversation with the code enforcement staff on Friday. I think everybody understands it, and it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but I think we're confident that it'll streamline the process for everybody.
Did I read that it? I just want to be correct that if the violator has it's up to them to get with the magistrate. Do they have 90 days?
No, they'll have. I believe it's 30. I think it's 30. It's either 20 or 30. It'll be in the site. So they'll issue the citation, saying, here's a $250 fine because I went and met with you. I gave you whatever time, 20 days to mow the grass. You didn't do it. You go out there on day 31. You give the citation. You fine them, whatever it is. In that citation, it will say you have X days to request a hearing. I think it's 20. I think. So it's up to, that's basically their appellate right. So there's not a 90-day thing. It's quicker than that.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
I've read 90 days.
Ms. Vicky, if you'd call the roll, please.
Do you vote on first readings? I'm sorry. Do you guys vote on first readings? No.
No, we don't have to. No.
So this will be advertised for final reading in January.
Yes, first reading, we don't have to take a vote, so thank you for that. Next item is discussion and possible approval to form a citizen committee for the City of Lynn Haven charter, and this is Commissioner Tender, if you'd like to take that one.
Thank you. This has been brought up numerous times in the past, and so I'm going to bring it up one more time. I don't really have the answer how we'd go about selecting the committee, but I felt 4 years ago, and I still feel that we owe it to the residents to look at our charter. There are things in our charter that are so obsolete that they're comical. And I've asked about it before, and I don't know if this commission even is concerned about it, but I'd like to see a committee formed of residents to bring things to us for this commission to vote on, things that they feel need to be looked at or addressed. The charter was written, I don't know how many years ago, but there's some things on there that are certainly outdated. So I'm just bringing that before the commission. If nobody else is interested about it, interested in it or concerned about it, that's fine, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Thank you, Commissioner Tender. Is there any discussion from the board?
Commissioner Tender, I'd be interested to hear what council would have to say about our charter before a committee of citizens. So if we wanted to charge our new council with taking a glance or take an in-depth look at our charter and see if we need to be put up to speed on anything. So
before council speaks, I just wanted to let you know we did meet about this because he noticed that there were just some small cleanups within our charter that they actually could do. It would take them much shorter time to do it and bring it back before the commission. Those are very, very small things. They're just cleanup things that could be done by our, again, as you said, by our legal.
I know we were
correct me if I'm incorrect, but a change to the charter requires a referendum.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand that.
Yeah. I didn't know if yours.
I do like the idea, Ms. Gaynor, of maybe cleaning up some of the outdated. I think we've all seen the news stories where there was a law passed in 1920 or whatever in some city where you couldn't chew gum on Sunday, or something crazy like that. So I agree, those are antiquated. laws, but on the flip side, there seems to be a trend nationwide of changing a lot of things from our past, and I'm not necessarily for that either. I like our history. You know, we were a work in progress, still are, but we don't forget where we came from. So, you know, I don't mind the cleaning up, but a complete overhaul of our charter that our founders and the men and women that came before us and built this place, I'm not sure that we should overhaul the entire thing just yet, but that's just my 2 cents.
May I, or do you want to say something?
Yes.
One of the things I think Mr. Walker has brought up on numerous occasions is it says our mayor has to be a man.
Right.
You know, it refers to, I mean, those silly little things. I was actually, the reason I ran originally was because code enforcement came to me and said $500 starting tomorrow. If I did not remove this little plastic man that has soup of the day on it from out front, because all signs must be attached to the building. And that's why I ran originally. There are references to tying your horses up out front. I haven't had anybody ride a horse to business lately, but just things of that nature. And they're really, I'm just bringing it because it's been asked of me more than once, so I'm just bringing it forward again.
Yes, ma'am. Do we have any comments or discussion from the public pertaining to this item? No, I don't see any. That being said, do we have a motion or anything from any of the commission?
I would make a motion that we have the council come to us with potential changes in the charter after a review. Is that?
I'll second that motion.
And, yeah, if I'll comment right now. We've gone through in both Callaway, I think more recently, and Springfield prior to that. Springfield was one. It was a 1951 charter, hadn't been changed. Talked about a city judge and court system, all sorts of obsolete stuff. So we actually did a total update in Springfield several years ago. That was passed. Callaway was a little bit closer to what we have here. It has been updated over the years, but we went through and just cleaned up made everything gender neutral. You know, right. He or she. You know, that sort of stuff that makes sense. Clarified there was some confusion on filling vacancies. I think we have that here. Clarified that so everybody understands what the process is. You know, we're not talking about changing the form of government. It's, you know, clean up the charter, bring it up to date, have it, you know, clarified and simple, and and you do get citizen input. Obviously, to do this, it has to be done in the form of an ordinance. So there will be 2 readings. If we need more citizen input, obviously you guys could always schedule some sort of a special workshop to get more input. But we found that worked well in Callaway a few years ago, where we had a lot of citizen input, but we did it in the ordinance route, where we actually just brought forward a version of the charter with, you know, the red line changes so everybody can see what we're talking about. And again, it's nothing substantial, but it does need to be done. And we can even put in there a requirement that it be reviewed every 7 years or every 10 years, just so you kind of, you know, keep it current as you can. So I think there are some good ideas and things, and I'd be happy to come up with a red line and bring it back for you guys to look at
Sure.
in January.
And that being said, you know, the rules and ordinances written on a piece of paper are only as good as what the people are willing to follow. So even though the books do say that you have to have a male mayor, we obviously had a female mayor. So I agree we can clean it up, but on the flip side, the people still hold the power at the end of the day. So, and I'll leave it at that. Any other comments? Or?
Do I need to amend the motion to include the ordinance style of, or just?
No, I mean, I think
okay.
It's
all right.
It's clear. That's how we'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, but it's about something else, so I'll wait until this is done.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Ms. Vicki Gaynor, would you call out the roll, please?
Commissioner Parno?
Yes.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes.
You got me out of...
And motion passes. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Tender, before you
I just wanted to bring up, because Mark Anderson asked me to make sure, and this is his words, please make sure that we do what we need to do to make sure the mayor's position is on the ballot in April.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Well, that being said, guys, we are adjourned. Thank you guys for coming in.